Hello, my friends. Welcome once again to Kardec Radio. This is Spiritism, a Closer Look. I'm your host, Luiz Lima, from Orlando, Florida, the Sunshine State, in case you don't know. Tonight we are going to bring a very interesting subject, the Five Pillars of Spiritism, which is something that we should all know, at least as Spiritists, but I think at times we keep forgetting things, little things here and there. So I'm going to bring some help tonight. We have a special guest that I want to bring online with us, Palloma Peterson. Palloma, how are you?
Good. Thank you, Luis, for having me today. It's a wonderful opportunity to share more about Spiritism.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a nice talk, just discussing or rephrasing some of these pillars, because, it's very easy to sometimes we just let them go, forget them. So it's always good to have them all the time with us.
That's correct.
Go ahead and it's all yours.
Thank you, Luis. And welcome, friends that are here with us today. We are going to talk about the basics of Spiritism. And we think of it as being the basics, and then we have questions, and we don't know. And thank goodness, Kardec also had questions, so much so that he created the codification for us. We have all our answers here, dear friends. We don't have to go find it anywhere. So let us start with talking about Spiritism. And we're celebrating, as I said, 166 years of the Spirit's book. Lots of things in it. 1,019 questions that you open and you find really the questions of our lives in here. It's divided in 4 parts. First, causes. First question, what is God? You want to know? I want to know? Let's go find it. Not today, we don't have time, but go get the book. Question number 1. Then everything about the spirit world, moral laws, hopes, and consolations. We all need these teachings, friends, and that's why we're here today talking about the very foundations of Spiritism. So we talk about Spiritism, but what is Spiritism? Kardec defined it. Spiritism is a science that deals with the nature, origin, and destiny of spirits and their relation with the corporeal world. So, Luis, if we say we are Spiritists, can we say we don't know about spirits, or we don't like spirits, or we don't want to know about them?
Well, we better know. We better study. By the way, that's something that Allan Kardec talks about all the time, is his entire work. Study, 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 go after the information. So yeah, we've been in Spiritism for a long time, so have I. We feel the need to revisit some of the concepts from time to time. So that's why I think this is important for us here today.
Yes, so important. Spiritism is the study of this communication with 2 worlds. Just very natural, just happens to everybody. It doesn't matter if you see it, don't see it, if you hear, don't hear, if you feel it, don't feel it. It doesn't matter. We are all living in both worlds all the time. So when we talk about the foundations, when we say we are Spiritists, what do we believe in? We believe in the existence of God, and we will cover a little bit of each of these notions, friends. So hold tight.
Okay.
Immortality of the soul, reincarnation, plurality of worlds, so not only planet Earth, many others out there, and the communication with spirits. So when we talk about the existence of God, we believe that God is the supreme intelligence, the first cause of all things. Meaning, who created you? Who created me? My son asked me that question. It was so funny because he said, Mom, who created you? And I said, God. And he's like, no, it was your mom. And I was like, all right, God created my mom. And then he went, but then who created your mom? And we went back to the point that he said, now I know what God created, because God had to create the first thing. Whatever that was created by God, and then life happened.
Right.
So that's what we believe. God is the creator, a first cause of all things. Who created God? Only God knows. We don't know. So we believe in God.
Yeah, it would be too much for us to be able to tell. Eh?
Right. We are not God. So
No.
only God knows, and that's okay. That's okay. But people that says, oh, I don't believe in anything because I believe what my eyes can see or what I can touch. And in the Spirit's book, question 4, the good spirit says that's an axiom in science, that science states there is no effect. So they are using a reason that there's no effect without a cause. Look for the cause of things which are not the work of human beings, and the reason will provide the answer. Meaning, does God exist? Well, you're going to have to find the cause of things. We came from somewhere, which we call God. The good spirits always enticing us to use our reason, which in Spiritism, right, Luis?
Yeah.
We're always being empowered to reason our faith.
That's true. One thing that throughout the years, you go do these lectures all the time, and as you go along, you meet people in spiritist centers. There are first timers, there are newcomers. So that, of course, they have questions, and of course we understand they come from different belief systems, and sometimes we get questions like this: "Oh, spiritism. Oh, what do you believe in?" So we informally just say, "Well, we got some pillars. One of them is existence of God." And then they say, "Oh, we believe in God." And I said, "Hold on. Existence of God, but God according to the Spiritist definition of God
Right.
is not the old man with a trident waiting to, poke you. It's nothing like this.
No.
So it is existence of God, but God being as defined by Spiritism. That's an important thing.
That is very true, Louise. And again, we at the Spirit Society of Virginia, we have children's class, and we ask them, where is God? And their idea was so interesting. They said, oh, God is sitting in the throne, somewhere. And we're like, oh no, we're going to have to teach more about God, because we still think that God is somewhere out there,
Yeah.
sitting and watching us in a way that is not even close to what we know of God, which, according to Spiritism, right? He is eternal, infinite, so no beginning, no end, immutable, doesn't change, immaterial, meaning you cannot touch, not he or she, even though sometimes we reference to, as if God had a gender, but it's
Mhm.
immaterial. There's no gender, there's no sex. It's unique, only one God. We cannot have God of thunder, God of rain, and the God of, whatever animals. It's one God, all powerful, supremely just and good.
Yeah, one thing is very interesting. We have eight attributes of God here. If when we humanize God, which we do a lot, that's
Yeah.
the classic concept of God. You take away from each of those eight attributes at least a certain percent. So God becomes not God, because it has to be 100% eternal, 100% infinite, 100% immutable. So when we adjust that percentage per se, then it's no God anymore. Then it's not the God as defined by Spiritism.
Right. It's the God that we've been living with millennia,
Yeah.
That has been in our minds, but not anymore. Not since we've had the Spirit's book, and we know better now.
That's true.
And it makes sense that God is not human. Thank goodness, because we know that we are so faulty. What if God was like us and changed its mind all the time? Oh, today I'm all good. Tomorrow, not so much. Imagine that, Luis.
Yeah. No.
It wouldn't work.
What a disaster would be.
Yes, exactly. Um, the next pillar is the immortality of the soul, and this is life changing.
Yeah.
In a society that sometimes we believe that we come from dust, we go back to dust, yeah, we're going to find ourselves depressed, consumed by sadness, hopeless. But Spiritism brings different, and this is not new. Immortality of the soul wasn't created by Spiritism, of course. It's across the world, the knowledge, but it has just been brought to our attention and explained to us that physical death doesn't really happen. It's just the body, the organic body. Yes, that dies, but our spirit continues living. Sometimes we have the body, sometimes we don't have the body. That's the only difference between us being incarnated, we have the body, or discarnated, we don't have the body. The spirit, the same. We're still living. There's no death according to Spiritism. So when, next time we go to a funeral, we hear of somebody passing, as hard as it is, we've all been through this, we're not going to say sorry for the person passing. We say, we're here, we support the family, we're going to pray, we're going to visualize treatment, but we're not sorry because that person lives. We understand death now very differently, and it's quite life-changing when we embrace this. And,
Yeah,
Luis,
in certain cultures, the death is seen as a celebration of the life that just ended.
yes. And in certain cultures, they know to the next topic, which is reincarnation. So they even mark so that they can recognize, that spirit reincarnated. That's what I'm saying. It's not new knowledge at all.
Yeah.
It's just codified for us in this book, right?
And like you said in the beginning, if you think everything ends at dust and that's one life only, there is no need to get better, to improve.
Exactly. It doesn't even make sense.
It wouldn't even make sense if it's all
If
in the end.
God is all just and loving, why would he make us just come live this life that a lot of times is hard and then disappear?
Mm-hmm.
It makes no sense.
No sense, yeah.
At all. So we brought this image. It was a mediumistic drawing that came that just explains what happens in this carnation, just showing the extinction of organic life, so the material body, disconnects the fluidic links from our perispirit, and now we go back to the spiritual world. Friends, lots to study. I invite you, go get the book, go look at these questions. This is just supposed to be a teaser for us to study more.
Yeah.
So next, we're going from immortality of the soul to reincarnation. What the Spiritism says. What is reincarnation? To reincarnate is to come back to the flesh. Incarnates flesh, do it again. Reincarnate to the flesh. Why do we reincarnate? Because that's a good question, huh, friends? You're like, okay, I came, I lived this life, I transitioned to the spiritual world. It was kind of hard. Now I'm back here. Why? Why do I have to go through this? There is a reason. Because living in the corporeal life, having a body and its challenges, being with others in a community, helps us to progress. It's like a challenge. Something is presented to us. We need to learn how to handle it. And if you don't, we reincarnate again. Try again. Same test. This time we got an A, move on. Next phase. At the same time, then when we reincarnate, we are able to fix some of the things that we might have broken in prior lives. So again, God being just and good allows us to make amends in the process. So today, with the understanding of reincarnation, you can stop and think, why am I here? What am I supposed to do to help myself grow? And also, what do I need to mend? Probably with other people. Most likely, people in our family. The closest to us, the more we have to pay attention to why we are together. Some, very few of us are missionaries, like Jesus. They came to the planet for a mission. They didn't come to fix anything, to progress, because they're already very highly elevated spirits, but they're here for a mission. There have been several missionaries in our planet, including our Master Jesus. Some of this evidence of reincarnation, we feel it. Deja vu, it's almost like, oh, I've been here before. I recognize. Dreams, nightmares, that you can remember things and images that are very strong. Phobias, because perhaps in prior lives we died, maybe drowning or maybe choking on something, and now we have this type of phobia. So reincarnation is real, and friends, science has already documented a lot of it, of reincarnation. Dr. Ian Stevenson at University of Virginia has thousands of cases documented from the science perspective. Now, he stops there. He doesn't go to the next step to explain why does it happen, or God, or the dynamics, because science hasn't gone there yet.
Yeah.
But Kardec did, right, Luis?
Right. And
Kardec linked it for us.
Yeah.
So then, how do we reincarnate? It is easy for us to be here today. It is not easy.
Not at all.
These spirits work so hard. They work so hard. And we have the book No Solar, but there's also the movie No Solar, where they show some of these images of the preparation of the reincarnation. There are departments that prepare us to come back. They look at our physiology, maybe some health tendencies that we need to reincarnate with, but they also have schools, preparations.
Yeah.
It's quite hard. And on top of that, they have to plan the scenario we're going to reincarnate, the family, the husband, the wife, the children, the parents. So it's not by mistake that we are here today at the very place we are. It's not destiny. It didn't just happen. It was planned very carefully. And you can read more also on the book Missionaries of the Light. Luis, just out of curiosity, which one is your favorite spirits book, or, on André Luiz?
I think it's still Evolution in Two Worlds.
Yes. Well, which shows exactly what we're talking about here.
Exactly, yeah.
All how, our bodies and animals, they go so much in detail in how these two worlds are constantly interacting.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a fascinating book, even though André Luiz is so deep in his knowledge there that sometimes I have to get a dictionary.
Yeah, by the way, so that Evolution in Two Worlds was, believe it or not, the first Spiritist book that I read.
Wow.
I was taken to a spiritist center. So after like two times or three times on my third lecture or so, the guy mentioned something that came from the book, and I was fascinated. I said, "Well, I want to know about this more." So I went to ask him. He said, "This is in the book, Evolution in Two Worlds." So I got the book. I started reading, and because I come from the technical side, my education is all technical. It's a little bit easier than for non-technical people, and I got fascinated. Of course, I didn't understand everything at the first shot, but that's what got me into spiritism.
It's a hard book to be the first book.
Yes, it is.
You get that one done, you can get everything else. It's wonderful. I really enjoyed that book too. I
Yeah.
really do. Um, and when we're talking about reincarnation, big topic. And in the US right now, we are going through, the laws changing on abortion pills.
Yeah.
And even that back in 1857, Kardec addressed, when does reincarnation happens? And they say, basically at conception.
Yeah.
So, dear friends, from the Spiritist perspective, abortion is a big no.
Yeah.
And there are consequences if we do it. If there's no judgment, there is no guilt. We're not going to go there. If it happened, it happened. It's understandable, but we also understand that there is a effect to that action.
Yeah, we're gonna have to offset the wrongdoing. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. And why is this so critical? Because again, just on the previous slide, that life was meant to come, was prepared, was with you. Most of the time, the spirits are next to us, being prepared to reincarnate around the family in all these efforts. And suddenly we decide that life won't continue.
Yeah.
So we are not God. We cannot play God. And if we try, because we can never be God, there are serious consequences.
That's
So we will
big
move to
no.
big no. It's a X without any. There's not even there's there is an if. What if this happened, or what if in that scenario happened? The only time the spirit says can a abortion happen is if the mother's life is at risk.
Yeah.
Then you have to keep the mother because the mother is already living. But this has to be real, because we can't say, oh, it's the mother's risk to justify the abortion, right? We're really saying, if that's the case, life and death, and you have to make a choice right there.
Yeah.
You keep the mother alive. All right. This is one of my favorites. One of my favorites, foundation, many worlds, because we are not alone. Of course, it would seem crazy that we are the only planet in this whole wide universe.
Yeah.
And Jesus told us that there were many dwellings in his Father's house, or our Father's house. And Spiritism comes and explains to us all the different planets and the different phases and how we progress with these planets. So, for example, planet Earth is a planet of trial and expiation. That explains why life is hard here. Will it always be like that? No. We're going through a transition, moving to a planet of regeneration. Yay! That's why I love this topic, because we can look forward to the next step in our lives, and our children, and maybe if we live long enough, might see this. We're talking 2057. It's coming up, a planet of regeneration.
Yeah.
So I think of it all the time, all the time.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that gets us going to make it better and make it really happen. It's an
Yes.
incentive for us to be more proactive towards it.
Yes, we want to stay in this planet. We don't want to go back to another planet of trial and expiation.
Yeah,
What do? We work on ourselves, right, Luis?
yeah.
We
Moral
study,
improvement.
we apply ourselves. You know, every day we make an effort to do better so that we
Mhm.
have a chance to see the next phase of our planet.
Yeah.
Really, really counting on it. And for the friends that are interested in reading more about this type of movement of planets, the book by Emmanuel, in a way, on our way. Oh my goodness,
On the way
on
to
the
the
way to
light.
the light. Thank you,
Mhm.
Luis. Explain how Capella people came, had reincarnated in our planet. It explained how they migrated, and it can show to us what would happen to us when we are, in this going to the next phase. Great book.
Yeah.
Next one, which is communication with spirits. It's a foundation for spiritism. And if you say you are a spiritist and say, I don't want to know about spirits, don't talk to me about spirits, I'm scared of spirits, right, Luis?
Yeah.
I'm a spiritist, but I don't want to talk about spirits. Uh, Let me break the news. Cannot be a spiritist.
Yep.
We believe in spirits. You are spirit. I'm spirit. Luis is spirit. We're just incarnated. And many friends around us that we can't perceive are here right now. So
And
be it.
but by the way, communication with spirits is the whole reason why spiritism was born in the first place.
Absolutely. That's how it came about,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It didn't come from us, it came from them.
Yeah.
So, Kardec asked the question, which is so important because we think we live our lives in the way we want. And he said, do spirits influence our thoughts and our actions? Answer: the influence is greater than you imagine.
Yeah.
So we are constantly being influenced by the spiritual world all the time. Does it matter? No. As long as we are aligning ourselves with the good, we are aligning with the spirits of the good, we're being influenced with the good. Now, the opposite is also true. If we are not being so great, we're going to be aligned with the ones that are not thinking the good, and now we will have thoughts that are not very positive.
And the affinity is our own choice.
Our own choice, which is another amazing thing of spiritism, that it brings to us ownership.
Yeah.
Our choices are only ours and nobody else.
Yeah.
We choose every day who we are attracting and who we are emitting. It's
We
the
bear
law of the
full
mental field.
responsibility. Yeah, we bear full responsibility.
Yes, we bear full responsibility in all our actions.
Yeah.
So it's great. It at the same time that gives us responsibility, it gives us the opportunity. Because if it was my neighbor's, problem, I wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But because it's mine, I can do something.
Yeah.
So at the end, we are all mediums. We're constantly interacting, and that's what matters when we're thinking of our Master Jesus going towards the end. My friends, I hope this has given you a teaser. But at the bottom line, if we're constantly attracting and emitting, we need to surround ourselves with the good. And that's when our beloved Master Jesus brings to us a framework, a moral framework. So we saw the science, the pillars, things we can study more on spiritism. And it also brings to us this loving framework that is humility, being selfless, benevolence to everyone, charity, being resigned to the fact that we have to be better. We're not the best yet. One day we'll be pure
Yeah.
spirits, but right now it is what it is. Resigned to it, indulgence, and discipline so that we can apply ourselves to the teachings from our Master Jesus. So that's it. All we can cover in 25 minutes, but hopefully a great teaser for us.
No, it was great, absolutely great. And even for us spiritists for a long time, there are always things that we can reuse in our talks or for ourselves. And, I just thought of something. For example, the other day I was talking about the pillars, and one of them is the immortality of the soul, which a lot of people believe in the immortality of the soul, but they don't believe in communication between spirits.
Right.
So that makes those two, it makes sense that those two are separate pillars. One does not imply the other. In different belief systems, a person might die. The soul doesn't die, is immortal, but it's what they call eternal soul. But that's it.
It
So
goes into the
it's kind of in
universe,
the
right?
air, in limbo. Yeah. So those little things, every time we hear the subject or somebody bringing the ideas of the pillars of spiritism, it reinforces our belief systems and what we should base our lives on.
Correct. And Luis, for us, hopefully, some of the friends have a chance to go to the Spirit Center and see it. But when we sit on the mediumistic meetings, there's no doubt that one, that we don't die, and two, that we communicate with spirits.
That's true.
There's no doubt whatsoever. So I understand that when Kardec sat down to experience the phenomena that was happening around the world, he was like, well, I'll document. But then there was like, there's no doubt that life continues. And they try to talk to us.
And he was very skeptical, by the way.
He was.
In going to these meetings, but finally,
Yeah.
he kind of said, "Yeah, better go."
It was 2 years for him to allow himself to go.
That's right.
And start observing, right? So,
and in the end, he decided to go because he was being invited for 2 years by two of his best friends, and he said, "I'm going to lose my friends, so I'm just going to go and get it over with." And then Spiritism is born.
That's it. And we're so thankful for him as we celebrate again 166 years of the Spirit's Book. We are grateful that we're here today because of Kardec.
That's true. Okay, Palloma, thank you very much. It was great to have you in the program. We should be doing this more often. We can do one of each pillar in one of the different.
Oh, yeah, we can cover a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for joining us tonight. Spiritism, a closer look. Don't forget, Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll see you next time.